Hey folks, JD here, and today we are looking at part 2 of the Alpha 1 project. So in case you don't know what the Alpha 1 project is, this is a brief recap. The Alpha 1 project is my 3D printed quadcopter that I decided to print a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to start making my own fleet of quads, so this is a very basic design that I took from Thingiverse and I decided to adapt it. We're going to talk about the adaptations in a couple of minutes, but essentially I printed it, I built it up then with a load of quadcopter parts, took it out for a flight, and actually it worked pretty well. Now back to those modifications. If we just switch for a second to Tinkercad, you'll see that what I've done now is I've made the quadcopter a little bit wider and a little bit longer. That now gives me the ability to raise the quadcopter ever so slightly, and with raising it I also add a little bit of extra diameter to the motor mounts, which was one of the major issues I had last time. When I went to test in part 1, the quadcopter fell out of the air, landed on the floor and smashed one of my motor mounts. The reason it fell was because the motors were pushed in so tightly that the motor mount itself actually split open, causing the quadcopter to become unstable. Now, with me elongating that quad, you're making the motor mount slightly larger, but also with me raising the quad as well, the quadcopter's motor mount actually raises a little bit higher, as you can see here, which means that I can slot a motor in, and it's going to be a little bit further up. The motor mount is going to be a little bit further up the motor. Now in time I may have to make a couple of holes in the motor mounts just to get some more aeration in there, but for now that's okay. Then I decided I wanted to raise the main body up as well, give it a bit more height. That then allows me to put other quadcopter components inside there. So I printed that out. I was pretty happy with how that looked, but then I thought about some other modifications. Those modifications being, now I've created this quadcopter and made it a lot larger, I need to put a larger battery in it, and I need to put another, and also I need a bit of space for the FPV camera or AIO camera. So I decided then I was going to double up on the already made part of the quadcopter, the sort of cowling over the top of it, and I thought that I would then take another one of those and make it pretty much the same size, well, the exact same size, and give it sort of like a double head. That way then I can have the quadcopter parts underneath, I can have the battery and the AIO, the FPV camera, just sitting on the top part as well. That then should still be nicely balanced. It doesn't add that much extra weight. As far as the print is concerned, just adding this little extra bit to the top just gives it an extra 23 grams of weight, which isn't really that much. We're still talking of a quadcopter which is going to be less than 50 grams fully printed, so I'm really quite happy with the weight of that, how that looks, and overall its stability. So inside here I'm just making sure that I have actually got everything lined up properly. I want to do that at this stage in the manufacturing stage, in the computer-aided design stage, rather than when it comes to the manufacturing. Now then, I took a little bit of time, I printed out both models for you to see, so let's go back and have a look at model 1. Okay, let's have a little look at version 2 for the second. So this is it. So let's put that against the first one that I printed, which is here. You can see there's quite a bit of a difference. So I've raised up the middle part. I have made the quadcopter a little bit bigger. Now, whereas we have our motor mounts here in the original one, which are quite cylindrical, quite circular, here what I've done is I've pinched them a little bit. So I've made them more oval. So therefore, when the motor fits in, it has a bit of almost like a crimping effect. So when the motor goes in, it just kind of pinches it a little bit. So that is the new one. That's quite nice. I quite like the look of that. And hot off the press, we've got version 3. So let's have a little look. So we've got version 1, version 2, and then version 3, which I haven't even tidied up in any way. It has just finished printing, and this is it. So we've got the first layer here of the printed circuit board. We've got those oval cups again, same size as this particular, as version 2. So I've got these oval cups for the motors. They just fit in there, get pinched a little bit, and then the top bit here, when all cleaned up and all the little bits of PLA are removed, then we've got the printed circuit board here. We've got a little battery in the back here, and then we've got a little camera at the front, which is antenna can fit up through there quite easily. So this is version 3. I'm quite excited. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put printed circuit boards and motors in both of these. and then I'm going to take them up for a flight and see exactly which one does better. I think, to be honest, they're going to fly okay. I'm going to have to put a little bit more powerful motors in here, even though there's not much of a difference on the overall design. So the first design here, version 1, bare bone, is... Oh, sorry. Version 1... Let's try that again. Version 1 bare bone is 7 grams. Version 2 is 13 grams. So even though it's the same design, obviously because it's a little bit bigger, then you're going to have a bit more weight with that. And then version 3 is going to be a little bit more. So that's 17 grams. So all in all, it's not that much more weight. So I think, to be honest, the original motor and the original printed circuit board that I had in version 1 would quite easily lift version 3. But what I'm going to do, tidy up version 3, take version 2 out for a spin, and then do version 3. I'm going to do videos on all of it so we can see the comparisons between them. And then from there I'm going to tweak this body a little bit more and then start to refine it. So start to curve it and start to make it look more like a quadcopter rather than a floating bus. So there we are. That's version 2, version 3, and of course, let's not forget the original and what everything came from, which is version 1. So let's line them up in chronological order there. So version 1, version 2, and version 3. So not much difference other than size, to be perfectly honest with you. Size we've got the original version 1, version 2 and version 3. So we've got the difference between these two is the overall size difference on 2 versus 1, and then version 3, the overall difference here is this extra body, this extra plate on top, just for the battery and for the camera. The overall size is the same as version 2, so I think they're going to work quite well. Alright then, my friends, I tell you what, next thing to do is to gear these both up and take them both up for a flight and see exactly how they do. Thanks ever so much for watching and listening, friends. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy printing and flying.